So if you saw the Arsenal game against Leeds United, you will agree with me about one thing. This is starting to look like that season where Arsenal finally win the Premier League title, or at least one major trophy. Now, but there are also things that might happen this season that might be very shocking, especially for Arsenal fans. There are two players who might be approaching the beginning of their end as Arsenal, and in this video, we're going to get right into it. Please leave a like to give the video some reach, and if you've not subscribed to the channel, please do that, and let's jump right into it. Now, Arsenal just thrashed Leeds United 5-0. Now, you know what was really very, that stood out in that game? That every time we had injuries, two players particularly hobbled off the pitch, Bukayo Saka and the captain Martin Ødegaard. And as these two players stepped out, it was almost like the momentum of the team increased as those guys left the pitch. For each person that came onto the pitch, Leandro Trossard, Max Dorman, and all the substitutions that happened in the game, it was like for each substitution, the momentum and the tempo of the game even went higher. And that goes to show the competition in the squad right now for places. Now, two players. I'll start with the first one. Martin Ødegaard, the Arsenal captain. Interestingly, at the beginning of the season, Mikel Arteta was asked if he was going to retain Martin Ødegaard as the captain going into the season, and he said, well, that they had had a vote and the squad had voted, outstandingly that Martin Ødegaard should continue as the captain. But then again, over the last two seasons, we've seen his performance drop, and with the signing of Eberechi Eze, it's starting to look like we still don't know what position he will eventually take, whether he's going to play on the left or he's going to play in the 10th position, Martin Ødegaard's position. But if it ends up happening that Mikel Arteta decides to play him in the 10th position, obviously, Martin Ødegaard will suddenly become a fringe player. He's going to be playing off the bench, probably not getting as much minutes as he should as a captain, and that might be the beginning of the end for him. And the second player is Martinelli, Gabriel Martinelli. We still don't know what will happen at the end of the transfer window, if Arsenal will end up going for Rodrigo, or if we're going to play Eberechi Eze on the left flank. But now that, Martin Ødegaard, Gabriel Martinelli saw for the first time, I think, Arsenal played a whole game and he didn't even get a single minute. He didn't even come off the bench today, even for a single minute. We did at least 5 or 6 substitutions, and Gabriel Martinelli was still seated on the bench. This is worrying signs for him, in my opinion, because if we could bring in at least 3 or 4 attacking players, including Max Dorman, and Mikel Arteta did not think that there was any place for Martinelli to come in and make impact in that game, then it's starting to become scary for him. So, time will tell. For the first time again, like I said, Arsenal have had, 6 injuries in the first 2 Premier League matches. We have Bukayo Saka out injured, Norgard, Kai Havertz, Ben White, Martin Ødegaard, and Gabriel Jesus. But yet, it still appears as if going into the Liverpool game, we still have the momentum. We are not starting to think, oh, the season is over. If this had happened last season, with all these players injured at this stage in the season, we'll have probably thrown in the towel and said, the season is done. But the importance of bringing in Eberechi, who has now, reinforced the team, and now even though we have these 6 players injured, we can still go into the Liverpool game with some form of confidence. For me, I think that Martin Ødegaard as the Arsenal captain will need to step up. I can understand Martinelli dropping form, and I still think there's still hope for him. I hope Arsenal keep him before the transfer window. We don't know what will happen with Arsenal potentially signing a striker or a winger. We don't know. We also hope we can get actually someone better than Martinelli. But I think these 2 players will need to step up if they're going to be Arsenal starters going into this season. Martin Ødegaard especially will need to step up his game. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Which of these 2 players do you think the signing of Eze will impact the most? And at the end of the season, who do you think will likely be, if they stay, especially Martinelli, if he doesn't get sold before the end of the transfer window, do you think he will still be an Arsenal first-team player come end of the season? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.